So, how do we connect with the divine spark, or how do I connect with the divine spark? We don't have to do anything or go anywhere to connect with it because it is us. It is what we already are. It is the very nature of our own being, our own consciousness is the divine spark in us. So, rather than trying to get somewhere or find something, what we should be doing is removing whatever it is that blocks the presence of our own being. And our own being is what we know as I am. It's interesting. You take the verb to be, I am, you are, it is. I am is the first person experience of being. So that I am that we all know, that is the divine spark. And it's something which is always there. We may not always notice it, it's always there. It's never changing. It's that same sense of being I had when I was, what, last year, 10 years ago, 5 years old. That sense of I-ness that never, never changes. That's, for me, the divine spark. And it's the same for every one of us. It's not, the I am Peter Russell, etc., etc. It's not that sense of I am. It's that sense of being which never changes. I mean, so much about me can change. My profession, my preferences, my personality, all that can change. But the I that is aware of them, that never changes. And it has no individual qualities. It is just that pure sense of being. And because it has no individual qualities, it must be the same for each and every one of us. So what I know as that sense of being, the I amness, is exactly what it is for you. So in that sense, I know you, I know everyone on a very deep level. I don't know what it's like to be you as an individual with all your background and thoughts and feelings and all of that. I have very little idea of what that is, but I do know exactly what it's like when you drop back into your own being, into that sense of I am. And this is what I think all the great teachings have pointed to. It's the I, when Christ says, I and the Father are one, it's mean I am the same as the Father, the source of everything. I am is the experience of the source of everything. In Eastern philosophy and Indian philosophy, Atman is Brahman. Atman is the essence of I-ness, is Brahman, the source of the universe. Or when Moses asked God who he was, he said, I am that I am. What I am is that sense of I am. That's how I understand it. So how do we remove the blocks to its presence, or rather, what are the blocks to its presence? The blocks basically are our thinking mind, or rather, not so much the thinking mind, but the ego mind. And by the ego mind, I mean the parts of our thinking which are basically concerned with our own survival in the world. The ego mind divides the world up into me, here, this organism, and the rest of the world. And its job is to help me feel safe, secure, to find happiness, to be at peace, not to be suffering. And so its job is continually on the lookout for what might go wrong, what could happen, good opportunities. And so much of our thinking is filled with this thinking of the ego mind, looking at what's going on, what do I need to do, how should I do it, if only that happened, or what if this happens, that sort of thinking. But because our attention is locked up in that thinking or caught up in it, we don't notice the beingness, that sense of presence which is always there. So for me, my essential practice, and just like to just share it with you very briefly, is the practice of simply pausing for a moment, just pausing our thinking. And we can do it right now. It's just, well, first of all, just to pause whatever we're attending to, wherever our attention might be. You can do this now with your eyes open or eyes closed. But just letting the attention retire from the world, letting the attention come back from the world, pause being engaged in what's happening in the world. And then you'll notice there's thinking going on about something or other, about what I've said, or maybe something else that's crossed your mind. Then just pause that, by which I mean, don't follow that thought any longer. Just let it be. We can follow it later. But for the moment, don't follow the thought. And then just notice how it feels not to be following the thought. As we do, we're just coming back closer to our own being. And usually, as we do that, a sense of lightness, a sense of relief, a sense of ease. And that's partly because so much of our thinking is filled with tension. So when we just pause our thinking, there can be a sense of, yes, this is so much nicer and richer. And just to notice how that feels. And then just to let the attention itself just soften and relax. And as we let the attention relax, we just fall back closer to our own beingness. We come back closer to ourself and begin to notice that ever-present sense of I am. So we just have to just pause the thinking and notice how it feels, and just notice that quality of I am, which is always there. And then just to soak in it. What I like to do is just to soak in that feeling, that sense of ease, that sense of relief, that sense of presence, that knowing of my own beingness, which is always there, but so seldom noticed. And just to be with that. And this is something we don't have to do it for a long time. I like to do it many, many times a day. Whenever I notice I'm caught up in some story, some thinking, some wanting or wondering or what ifing, whenever I notice that's going on, just to stop and just pause the thinking and just coming back to being, just for a moment or two. I'd just like to leave you with that as a practice you can do whenever you feel like it. In fact, as often as you feel like it. Thank you.